ChatGPT 5 doesn't always give you the results you want. Sometimes it sprints when you need deep reasoning. Other times it overthinks when you just want a fast answer. That's why knowing the model lineup matters. In this video, I'll show you when to stick with the default GPT-5, when to switch to the GPT-5 Thinking or Pro options, and when to take a step back and choose an older model like o3 and 4o. By the end, you'll know exactly which AI brain to use for coding help, write an essay, solving a tricky math problem, or just having a casual chat. This is your complete guide to ChatGPT models in 2025. Before we dive in, all these chat models are large language models, LLMs. That basically means they are huge neural network programs trained on tons of text to generate human-like responses. They work by predicting text one word at a time, or even one character at a time, based on patterns learned from the internet, books, and other data. So when you ask a question, the LLM isn't doing a traditional database lookup, it's using what it learned to predict a good answer. The more advanced the model, generally the better it is at understanding your question and giving a useful response. All the GPT models share the same DNA, but each has its own specializations and size. The GPT-5 is the hottest thing right now, and for a good reason. This model decides on its own whether to sprint or slow down and think. Paste a 50-page market report and think hard about this, and GPT-5 scoops it all into memory, runs a live web search for this morning's numbers, then spits out a 5-bullet summary with page citations and links. Ask for a quick take on the same doc, and it shrinks the answer to 2 punchy sentences. No juggling submodels, no plugin roulette. GPT-5 auto routes to browsing, code, or reasoning tools as needed. The magic shows when you mash tasks together. Try this. Draft a 2-day Berlin trip, keep the budget under 300 euros, and translate the itinerary to Spanish. GPT-5 checks current hostel prices, drops a real-time weather note, converts costs, and flips the whole plan into smooth Spanish, all in one pass. Or fire off, explain why my SQL query is slow, then rewrite it and email me the fixed version. It reads your query, optimizes it, and if you've linked Gmail, offers to send the patch to your teammate, attaching a plain English note that even non-devs get. GPT-5 is your Swiss Army brain, does everything reasonably well. The GPT-5 Thinking is the deep focus version. Same brain, but it always engages full chain of thought and tool use. Great for financial models, multi-step data analysis, long legal drafts. Expect slower answers in a daily cap, but you get rigor you can audit. Shows intermediate steps, cites pages, even runs code to double-check results. Overkill for what's 12 times 9, but gold when you need rock-solid logic. And the GPT-5 Pro is the power tier for heavy users. Extended context up to 272,000 tokens, higher rate limits, priority speed, and early access to new agent features like automated email, calendar, or API workflows. Pro is ideal for founders, analysts, and dev teams who feed the model huge docs or run dozens of sessions a day. Still, it's not magic dust. The router can misfire. Sometimes GPT-5 overthinks a yes or no, or breezes past a naughty brief. Hallucinations haven't vanished. Verified sources, especially on niche data. For 90% of daily research, writing, planning, or light code though, GPT-5 is the tab you'll leave open all day. And if you want more control, turn on legacy models and settings. First, in the legacy models picker, you'll see GPT-4o, the Omni upgrade that OpenAI rolled out at the end of 2024. Think of it as the multi-tool in your AI drawer. Reads and writes text like classic GPT-4, but it also sees pictures and listens to audio. Voice chats, image uploads, on-the-fly image generation, can do it all. What can I do with GPT-4o? I can open voice mode and say, ChatGPT, can we have a conversation in French about the solar system? So beautiful. It understands my English request, answers me in smooth French, and keeps the chat flowing at real-time speed. I can snap a photo of a parking sign, upload it, and ask, can I park here after 6 p.m.? ChatGPT will help with that. Or I can type generate an image of a futuristic city skyline at sunset, and it will create a decent sketch. Day to day, I used to lean on GPT-4o when the task mixes media, recording a voice memo, attaching a photo, then asking follow-up questions in the same thread. Even now, it is also solid for normal writing, emails, outlines, code snippets, summaries, and it formats answers neatly with headings or bold text, even if I forget to ask. I know all these new GPT-5 capabilities sound exciting, but, a bit overwhelming. AI headlines scream layoffs and automation eats jobs. Meanwhile, you're drowning in tabs, tutorials, and tool of the week hype. Whether you freelance, clock in 9 to 5, or build a business, the real pain is falling behind while others ship faster with AI. You want more sales, more clients, smaller workload, but not another stack of courses. That's exactly why we built AI Master Pro, 3 universal tracks that turn you into an AI-powered version of yourself. One 99% ready system with plug-and-play prompts and workflows. The only missing piece is your perspective. It's the same framework I used to go from a cameraman to media entrepreneur with an AI-run video business that scripts, edits, and sells for me. And now this is your chance to start landing clients faster, ship deliverables in hours, and scale without extra hires. Watch a complete free lesson today, hit the link, and start using AI instead of worrying about it. The GPT-4o and any other model also powers the new agent mode, which is like operator on steroids. Does stuff for you, but it's not a fully fledged agent just yet, and it's not very customizable. So for more specific and narrow tasks, you still need a dedicated agent. I've been playing with Warp for that matter, and it's seriously good. Warp isn't just another terminal, it's an agentic development environment. Spin up an agent, point it at any repo on your machine, and it will map the code base, draft a fix, write the tests, and even open a clean pull request, all before you finish your latte. Need 3 agents working 3 microservices at once, fire them up in Warp's management panel, watch each one gather context, refactor, and push to GitHub while you hover reviewing the built-in editor. Because Warp sits lower in the stack than IDE, the agents can do anything the terminal can. Migrate databases, tweak Docker configs, roll back a bad deploy, whatever your uh-oh moment calls for, and you stay in control. Set guardrails, step in mid-run, or hand them full autonomy when deadlines bite. If you want to see what an agentic development environment actually feels like, Warp Pro is $1 for your first month this week only. Links below, grab it, unleash a few agents, and turn your backlog into yesterday's news. The flip side of the 4o is that it's a generalist. For deep logic puzzles, advanced coding, or the freshest news, GPT 4.1 usually outperforms it. And because GPT-4o was trained on data only up to late 2023, it might need a gentle nudge to search the web for very recent facts. It can also run long. If I don't set a word limit, I explain more than I need. If you're a Plus user and you care only about raw text quality, you'll probably switch to GPT 4.1. But whenever a project involves sound, images, quick sketches, or real-time translation, GPT-4o is the option I keep reaching for. This flexibility is hard to beat. One model, one chat window, and I can jump between talking, showing, and typing without switching tools. Well, at least the GPT-5 came around, this was true. Slide the picker down a bit to 03 and you'll switch ChatGPT into detective mode. This model isn't just reciting facts from memory, it plans a whole investigation before it answers. Ask a tricky question and 03 breaks it into steps, grabs the right tool for each one, and only then hands back a result. I'll see it hunt for web pages, run a quick Python script, read a PDF, or zoom in a detail in an image, all inside the same chat. Yes, it thinks longer, so a big query might show searching or running code for a few seconds, but the payoff is a rock-solid answer that smaller models would guess at. The magic shows up when raw knowledge isn't enough. If I ask, what will the weather be for this year's Paris Marathon and how could that change average finish times, 03 checks the marathon date, pulls the forecast, fetches last year's temps and results, crunches the numbers, and tells me, for example, that hotter weather could nudge times slower by about 5%, all backed by live data. Drop in a messy calculus problem, and it writes the algebra out step by step, double-checking itself with the Python tool. Hand it a bar chart, and it reads the axis, plots a fresh trend line, and explains what's rising or falling. Visual reasoning is wild. I can upload a random street photo and ask, where was this taken? O3 spots a cafe sign, matches a phone number prefix, and pins the location. No other model does that kind of layered clue hunting. There are catches. The O3 loves detail, so if you only need a quick hitter, what's 12 times 9? It's overkill. All the tool use means slower replies, and Plus users still face a cap on daily O3 runs, disable web browsing, and O3 loses half its superpowers, falling back to standard chatbot. Now and then it gets stubborn. If an early step leads it astray, it may cling to the wrong path, which sometimes really messes up our research for videos. Still, for research briefs, data analysis, multi-step math, or any job where you need sources rather than hunches, O3 is a game changer. Our AI course comes with a streamlined O3 prompting guide shaped by our own trial and error, so you can plug it into your workflow and see gains right away. O3 is included with Plus, labeled as Think, but only for a limited number of requests every month. Plus tier somewhat ups the limits, and it's enough for most people, but for me, the Pro subscription is the way to go. I hate limits of any kind. Regular O3 already breaks big questions into steps, wraps tools, and shows its work, but the O3 Pro does all that but slows down on purpose so it can dig deeper. Also, double-check itself and chase extra leads before it talks. Where O3 might search 3 sources, O3 Pro checks 5. Where O3 runs a quick calculation, O3 Pro tries a few variations to be sure the numbers hold up. The result is a longer, more nuanced answer that's as close to bulletproof as ChatGPT gets. You feel the difference in high-stakes jobs. Ask Build a detailed SWOT analysis for an electric scooter rental launch in a mid-sized city, backed by real data. The O3 will pull stats and give you a solid outline. The O3 Pro keeps going, scrapes pilot program reports from similar cities, lists exact ridership numbers, cites news articles about setbacks, and stitches everything into a polished brief you could hand to investors. The same take your time mindset shows up in every task you throw at it. Because it uses every tool more heavily, web, code, files, images, answers can take minutes instead of seconds. That's fine when precision matters. Not so great if you just need a fast reply. Usage caps are tighter too. Even Pro accounts get a weekly quota so the servers don't melt. I save O3 Pro for tasks where slip-up would cost real money or credibility, legal-ish drafts that need airtight wording, code audits that have to catch silent bugs, research summaries where a wrong date would sink the argument. For everyday tasks, I stick with O3 or GPT 4.1, and spare myself the way. If you're on Plus, you won't see O3 Pro. The standard O3 already covers most needs, but when you upgrade to Pro, and that tougher assignment lands on your desk, an 80-page thesis chapter to sanity check, a simulation that demands thousands of runs for a confident outcome, a delicate condolence letter that must strike exactly the right tone. Click O3 Pro, grab a coffee, and let the ultimate deep thinker work its slow, methodical magic. Now I want to change a course, 4.5 and 4.1. The 4.1 model takes everything the original GPT-4 did well and turns the dial all the way up. Sharper logic, cleaner code, and a huge 1 million token context window. Roughly 800,000 words. Drop an entire book, a stack of research papers, or a messy code base into the chat and it can keep every detail straight without losing the thread. Speed is solid too. OpenAI trimmed enough fat that GPT 4.1 feels almost as quick as the smaller models for normal chats, yet its answers land with a depth that makes editing optional. When you're debugging, you'll paste an error trace and say, here's my Python code, it's throwing a value error, fix it and explain why. It will pinpoint the bug, rewrite the function, and walk through the change like a mentor. The same precision shows up in structured tasks. List 5 pros and 5 cons of remote work in a table. It then produces exactly 10 bulletproof points, formatted to spec every time. GPT 4.1 is kinda multimodal, so if you attach a photo or want real-time voice translation, you'll get something in return.
and because it sees a wider training set and got extra fine-tuning, GPT 4.1 also drifts off topic far less than earlier versions and hardly ever mixes up facts in routine use. That makes it my default for reports, essays, proposals, anything where accuracy matters. But I said it before, and I'll say it again. Prompts matter. If you give a bad prompt to the best AI there is, you'll still get gibberish. Writing effective prompts is an art, but you don't have to start from scratch. Prompt Lab Pro packs 300 plus prompts we've battle tested across sales, marketing, SEO, freelancing, and more, each with a short walkthrough that breaks down the why behind the wording. Learn the pattern, tweak it to fit your task, and ship faster so your copy converts, your outreach lands, and your projects start showing real gains instead of just prettier text. As for the 4.1, there surely are trade-offs. Very large prompts do add a few seconds of processing, and Plus users still face message caps. But those are small prices for a model that can read an entire thesis and answer follow-up questions in the same thread. Whenever the task is pure text and you need the highest quality, drafting a policy brief, refactoring code, or asking, compare these 3 climate reports and write a 1-page summary highlighting agreements and conflicts. This is the button I hit first. And like I said earlier, there's another interesting model you might be missing, the GPT 4.5. This model was the biggest leap since GPT 4.1 built as a research preview to test how close OpenAI can get to GPT-5 without saying the name. They fed it more data, extra training tricks, and sharper sense of tone. When I asked it for a 3-paragraph product launch or cover letter that sounds both confident and warm, the text arrives polished enough to paste straight into an email. It feels my intent, spots formality cues, and never slips into robotic filler. Because the model is massive, it keeps sight of a long story arc or detailed argument better than anything else in the lineup. I can draft a 10-page chapter, leave a note, add a subtle joke about black holes, and a hopeful twist at the end. And GPT 4.5 threads the changes without losing voice or plot. The same depth shows up in persuasive tasks. Write a heartfelt graduation speech for my sister, sprinkle in her love of astronomy. This delivers a touching talk that lands both the humor and the emotion. For practical advice, it doubles as a thoughtful coach. I'm burned out in marketing and thinking of data analysis. Walk me through pros and cons. The reply balances feelings and facts, lists concrete next steps, and somehow sounds like it cares. Accuracy is better too. If I ask, summarize the key points of the 2025 UN climate agreement, it cites the right facts instead of inventing them, and when it doesn't know, it's more likely to admit that. Creative projects also shine. Long poems, Austen-style prose, or a screenplay scene stay coherent for pages because the bigger context window keeps earlier details alive. The catches are what you'd expect: availability, limits, and speed. Only Pro subscribers and certain API users can call it, and there's a weekly message cap. Generation lags a bit, roughly twice as slow as GPT 4.1, and GPT 4.5 is text only, so yeah, it's the best and not the best at the same time. O4 Mini. It's the slimmed-down member of the GPT-4 family that OpenAI released, so anyone could use advanced AI without paying a premium. For several months in mid-2025, it was the default brain behind every free ChatGPT account, and even some Plus users preferred it because it replied almost instantly. Daily tasks are where it shines. Ask, do eggs in the UK need to be refrigerated or not? And it gives a clear answer. Drop a news article and say, summarize this in plain English, and it returns a neat paragraph. Ask to translate this English text into French, and you get clean French, or ask to give 3 ideas for a friendly reminder email to a client, and it gives 3 polite, ready-to-paste options. Because the model can read images, you can also show it a simple photo and ask what's inside, though its vision skills are basic compared with larger versions. The trade-off for all that speed and savings is depth. The smaller parameter set sometimes misses subtle context, sounds generic, or makes extra mistakes on heavyweight work like detailed legal contracts, multi-step logic puzzles, or production-ready code. After 4.1 Mini took over as the default model, O4 Mini kinda slid into the background, but it's still available if you want to use it, aka when you want quick answers for everyday questions. But I get that it can be confusing, figuring out which model is the default one now. Then there is the O4 Mini High, the Pro-only setting that gives O4 Mini a bit more power. The regular Mini model already answers fast, the High mode simply lets it pause long enough to double-check itself. Think of it as handing the same sprinter an extra sip of water before the finish. It still crosses the line quickly, but it comes back with a bit more insight. Here's how the difference shows up in real work. I feed both modes a 5-year sales sheet and ask, forecast next year and flag any spikes. Tell me why they happened. Standard Mini spots the obvious stuff. The High mode pauses, digs up data, and cites the culprit. Same story with code, drop 50 sloppy Python lines and say, make this faster, and explain. Visual tasks are where the gap really widens. The High Mini can read images, but only 4.0 can create them. We'll sketch a logo idea, have 4.0 turn it into a slick vector, then drag in a screenshot of our landing page and ask for a better color palette, all in one thread. That workflow alone saves my designer hours every week. We've spent 3 years refining that exact pipeline, dialing in negative prompts, aspect ratio tricks, and file-ready outputs so you don't have to. All of these hard-won playbooks now live inside AI Master Membership. In the AI 101 course, you'll find step-by-step video lessons, designer-friendly prompt packs, and PDF cheat sheets that walk you from rough sketch to polished asset without the guesswork. Everything's bite-sized, always up-to-date, and built to plug straight into whatever tool stack you're using. Result? Cleaner mockups, faster iterations, and a creative turnaround that drops by roughly 30% because the AI finally pulls its weight. And since you are here, an AI master, you can snag 63% off your first year. Tap the link below, hop in, and let's turn those ideas into production-ready visuals today. Back to speed. That extra diligence costs just a few seconds, and pro accounts get plenty of headroom before any caps kick in. On bite-sized questions, the High mode can overthink. Yes, it may run a quick calc on 12x9, but once your prompt nudges past everyday trivia and you still want a near-instant reply, O4 Mini High hits the sweet spot without calling in the heavy artillery of O3 or GPT 4.5. So when speed still matters, but little extra depth could save you follow-up prompt, code cleanups, mid-sized data forecasts, logic puzzles that stump the basic Mini, flip to O4 Mini High. It's the sweet spot in the pro tier, quick, careful, and just a click away for those moments when fast enough isn't quite enough. But let's assume for a second that you've used all your quotas. In this case, ChatGPT will switch to the 4.1 Mini, which is better than O4 Mini, but somehow is hidden under more models. Luckily, it keeps the same snappy feel, but packs in way more brainpower than the O4 Mini. Performance wins show up everywhere. In real work, that means I paste a 200-line Python file and say, identify bottlenecks and rewrite the slow parts, and it actually does. The model also sticks to instructions better. If I ask for 5 bullet points, I get exactly 5, not 4, and a bonus tangent. Long context reasoning is the headline upgrade here. I can feed it a week of meeting notes and ask, pull every action item assigned to me and schedule deadlines next month, and it parses the whole pile, rewrites tasks, and proposes realistic due dates. Current event questions land cleaner too, thanks to training data that stretches through June 2024. And trade-offs here are tiny. Answers run a hair larger, so mobile data usage ticks up a smidge, and a heavy statistical crunch might run a couple of seconds longer, but nowhere near the wait times you'd get from the O series or GPT 4.5. And all free tier users have unlimited 4.1 Mini chats, which is a great deal, I must say. Now you might be wondering, what about those other modes like Canvas or Codex? All these modes don't swap in a new brain. They simply change how you and the same brain interact. Voice mode turns typing into a hands-free chat. You ask out loud, the model answers back in speech, perfect for when you're cooking, commuting, or just tired of the keyboard. Canvas opens a drag-and-draw workspace where you can work with individual pieces of ChatGPT's response. Deep Research starts a workflow that chains together tool calls to fetch sources, run quick calculations, and hand you a tidy mini report without all the manual back and forth. None of these modes make the model itself smarter. Whether you pick GPT 4.0, GPT 4.1, O3, or any other, that selection sets the brain power. Modes are just convenience wrappers. Voice, when you can't type. canvas when direct control matters, and deep research when you need citations fast. Pick the model for raw capability, then pick the mode that feels easiest for the job at hand. Choosing the right brain in the picker comes down to speed, depth, and media you are working with. For quick day-to-day tasks like translation, summaries, rapid brainstorming, I open with 4.1 mini or the 04 mini. Whenever images, voice, or multilingual back and forth enter the scene, GPT-4o takes over. Clean writing, solid code, and detailed analysis are for the GPT 4.1, while GPT 4.5 is best when I want that final draft polish. Hard, multi-step puzzles or live data hunts go straight to 03, and if the margin for error is 0, 03 Pro takes the spotlight. But if you want it simpler, use the 4o for most tasks, 03 for reasoning tasks, and the rest only if these two fail. And remember that prompt quality still makes or breaks every model. Garbage in, garbage out. On the free plan, you chat with 4.1 mini all day, and when you have your quota, get a small taste of GPT-4o, you have about 10 voice or image messages before it drops you back to mini, step up to plus, and the bench fills out. You keep mini, add 04 mini for bulk text, unlock full GPT-4o with a soft cap, and gain GPT 4.1 and the Reason Model 03, each with their own message limits that reset every hour. And if you go Pro, you'll get everything, and codecs and Sora and access to all new features in the first wave, but to pay or not to pay, that's up to you. Be sure to watch our video about paid versions of popular AI models. Thank you so much for watching. Check out our membership by clicking the link in the description, and I'll see you in the next one.